This episode is brought to you by Libre DeFi Animal Farms NFT series. These 2,500 uniquely generated NFTs will give you an all-access pass to the Libre platform with additional perks like APR boosts for staking and farming, early access to the PTE gaming beta, and more. And if you mint with the Libre token, you'll get 2 NFTs for the price of 1. Visit LibreDeFi.io for more details on acquiring this awesome NFT series. Link in the description below.
This my 2 Satoshis. This my 2 Satoshis. Who need 2 cents when they can get double from stacking Toshis? Yeah.
Hola, GNGs. I am Trekker2Ks, and this is another episode of My 2 Satoshis here on the CBTV. If you don't know, that is the Crypto Blood TV. Okay, and I am Trekker2Ks again. And so, basic idea is here's some things that came up on my radar. Some of it is crypto, some of it is not crypto, but we're gonna get into these stories nonetheless. This one caught my mind this morning because somebody dropped it in one of the groups I'm in. And so here you have it, Goldman Sachs. This is how their website looks now. If you're new to the space, like if you just got here, let's say in the last 6-9 months, you don't remember what Goldman Sachs was like back in 2017, 2018, 2019. They wouldn't even talk about crypto in 2015, okay? And so here you have it now. They done changed their site. They got cryptocurrencies right here for you to see. They talking about metaverse. They going in. I'm gonna say it this way. They started off as the haters. Now they trying to come in and be like, oh, we've been down from day one. A lot of folks are gonna FOMO and FUD kind of their way into this stuff in regards to they are a known company, they're a known financial institution, and people are gonna take what they're saying as, oh, well, it must be right. I'm just going to say this, at the core level, the technology will always end up, well, let's say certain applications of cryptocurrencies will always end up working at the peer-to-peer level, right? The base level, the base layer of it. I'm personally not looking too fond of what it is they're going to end up doing as their business model, but as a net positive, it does mean that more people will learn about cryptocurrencies and metaverse and Web3 and blah, 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 other buzzwords. So I'm going to leave that one there. Links for this will be in the description, so you can definitely follow up to the website or just check it out yourself and see what's going on. Moving on to this next story, not crypto related, but nonetheless, I brought this up on LinkedIn a couple of weeks ago in one of my mini blogs, right, where I was talking about the corporate McDonald's was looking to close the Russian-based McDonald's storefronts. So here we have a follow-up of the Burger King situation, and Burger King's like, nah, well, the owners of the Burger King chain in Russia are saying, no, it's not happening. We're not closing down. Now, one of the things that I had brought up about this scenario was the food source was going to be an issue. It was actually more than one thing that went into this particular decision of, hey, do we get the food source from the same venues as the European and the American storefronts, or where corporate has their stuff from? No? Okay, well, check for us. 2, does the corporate own more of the franchise in Russia, like McDonald's corporate did for the McDonald's franchise? It turns out, no, they don't. The majority of them are local in regards to that franchise set up there. And it's another company that I can't remember the name of. There's a company called RBI, which owns a minority stake. And then there's another company that is a part of it too. But the point being is that the Burger King deal for Russia was not the same as the McDonald's deal. So what ended up happening in this was the government came in and was like, yo, y'all could just rebrand. And like they did this thing where it looks like a B sideways, but it has the golden arches in it. Sorry, I ran with this article instead. Nonetheless, this is a scenario of they're really just rebranding the logo part of it, but it's still the same food because they weren't using the American source stuff anyway. Again, I saw that part of it. The writing was on the wall. The food would be a part of the decision process. McDonald's didn't work out the same way. Ironically enough, McDonald's is still actually paying the 60,000+ people who got laid off, which I'm wondering how long will they actually do that for? Because if this situation with Ukraine and stuff goes on for more than 3 months, 6 months, will McDonald's be willing to pay those people that long? I highly, highly doubt that. But moving on to the next story, I'm trying to do this thing as a shotgun. It's different things happening, going on around the world. And it's a lot of stuff that be on the radar, y'all, for real, for real. This next joint right here was Taiwan bans crypto payments as of April 1st. So basically, their version of the SEEK and their central bank, which is like Bank of Thailand, so BOT, right? So basically, they're like, hey, we are going to look to stop all crypto payment tools starting April 1st. And I read this article and was just like, what's going on right here? And I've said this like X amount of weeks back, months back, especially after the OFAC report came out and the IMF report came out in relation to digital assets and cryptocurrencies. And the basic idea was push down to the different countries, hey, you need to start implementing regulations or policies that will throttle the adoption of cryptocurrency in your jurisdiction. So whether you do it at the company level and at the people level, this, in my opinion, when I look at it, and especially when I read this part right here, to me, an example of the things that were mentioned in the OFAC report, which stands for the Office of Foreign Asset Control, that's through the U.S. Treasury Department, but other financial agencies from other countries also sit on that group or that board of, I don't want to say entities, but like there are members of it, and they produce that report. And there's also the IMF thing. But the point being is that this joint right here, where it's like, what is it? So BOT and the Security Exchange Commission have discussed the benefits and the risk of digital assets and saw the need to regulate and control the use of digital assets as a medium for payment of goods and services because it may affect the stability of the financial system and the overall economy. What I translate that as, again, not financial advice, I'm just some guy on the internet who wears shades, right? They're actually talking about, hey, in my opinion and how I'm looking at it for the things I connect, we need to put in capital flight controls for when the economy and the things begin unstable, people can't just exit and operate in another currency. That's what I read this as. If you got some other thought process on it, definitely leave it in the comment. Definitely, share what you're thinking on this one, because that's how I read it. And I'm seeing it happen in multiple countries, at the local level and at the state level and at federal level. So that's why I take it that way myself. Now, jumping off into the next thing, crypto story, right? So this comes out, this one was today's thing about how Russia's like, hey, we're gonna sell oil in Bitcoin or ruble. And I said this before, well, I didn't say it here, I wasn't doing the My Two Satoshis at the time, but they were already making a move on getting Bitcoin and other types of cryptocurrencies, including stable coins, into their financial system back in like January and before. And they made official announcements in February. Most folks were not paying attention to that situation, especially here in the West, as far as how our news cycle was going. The bottom line of it is now, because of the sanctions that we're leading as far as the US is concerned, it's putting them in a position to be like, all right, well, we'll figure out the other workarounds. It's going to be the ruble, it's going to be crypto, and particularly right now is Bitcoin, which arguably this is a net positive, right? But let's actually see who makes the first buy. Like, that's going to be the question, because it's either going to be a friendly nation or a non-friendly nation, because they already made their list on who's on the cool list and who's on the you're going to get the today's price. We're not giving you yesterday's price. So the basic idea is, if you're on the friendly list, you can pay in Bitcoin. If you're not, go get those rubles or come up with that gold. That's how they talking to the rest of the world right now. And arguably, like, you kind of put them in that position. So what'd you expect? Nonetheless, though, if you definitely want to look in on this one, the article is going to be in the sorry, not the article, but the link is going to be in the description for this one. But definitely check it out, and also leave your comment. Like, am I talking out my ass on this one? Let me know what's up. But let me just tap on this last part. I was bringing this up again on LinkedIn. I write out a lot more of my thoughts on LinkedIn on stuff. They were already making a move to bring in Bitcoin, and this is the whole, like, it's going to be KYC as far as how their central banks are connected to it and how the government is looking at it. That it's not about the peer-to-peer level stuff. So that's that double-edged sword of how they are implementing Bitcoin and then cryptocurrency in general, right? Remember, at the base layer of this thing, it's a peer-to-peer thing. The technology is open to individuals, to governments, to private companies, to public companies. It's open to everybody. Just saying. Moving on to the next thing, right? The NFL finally comes around on uplifting a ban that they put on the NFL players about doing anything with NFTs. I'm looking at this going, okay, so this is about IP control and the NFL looking to make their new revenue model that will go into generational timelines, right? You play for like 5 years, max, I'm not even a sports person like that, but understand the idea of they are now looking to find a new revenue model for being able to control IP on the players, right? And so in one regards, this can be a good thing for the players as far as, hey, I'll get royalties off of this for X amount of years down the road and I can pass it on to, whoever I want to pass it on to. But on the other part of it, the way that they're restricting them to not be able to do the logos of the company, or there's a certain time limit on it, the basic thing of, it's a double-edged sword. There is a net positive as far as this brings more awareness in regards to NFTs as we understand them in the artistic context. I think the real more interesting thing is the technology aspect that will grow off of this, because I see NFTs as more of a technology being applied to art or to apply to content, right? The real more interesting part to me is understanding how the smart contracts and things like that are working behind the scenes to guarantee the royalties, to be able to adjust a smart contract down the road, which is what this is going to end up having to be when it comes to a player moving from one team to the next. And here's another part for you. How does this work for a rising high school star who starts doing their own YouTube, IG, TikTok thing and pushing out their NFTs while they're in high school, or when they get to college and they start doing it there? Who's going to be controlling what as far as the intellectual IP, the likeness, and how they get to like pave that forward, right? For whatever blockchain they're even on. What about Pee Wee League, right? Like, this is just how my mind is working, but nonetheless, this is a net positive for the industry as a whole, just saying. Going on to this next one. So if you don't know who this is the president of Ukraine right now. This guy, I can't even remember his name right now, but he's considered like one of the New World Order reset people. I'm sorry, I forgot his name at the moment, but why I tapped it on this one is because this article connects to this article here. This one is talking about the World Economic Forum and the proposal that they gave to the Ukrainians for what's going on right now. Their leadership people decided like, yeah, we're going to take on this deal. Basic idea is, hey, everything has to be done through a smartphone. It has to be done through a smart device. So it's going to combine the social credit score application. It's going to combine universal basic income. It's going to have a cryptocurrency element to it, and it's going to be your digital ID. Now, there are a number of countries around the world who do some variation of this. Most people are aware of how China's thing is set up, where you have the whole WeChat and like you can do any and everything on that app, but they can also cut you off from things on that app. Poland has an example of an app similar to what's being pushed over in Ukraine. Estonia, you can be a digital citizen. That's been going on for like pre-COVID. I've definitely heard of entrepreneurs who move out that way and be digital citizens of Estonia. But the point being is that they're moving into a new testing phase where whatever was going on far east is one thing, but now we're moving it over into the West, and we're going to see how does this work out in the West. Again, this is just me and how I put these things together in my head. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of it, but that's just me, myself, and I. That's where it is right now, man. Like, there's a lot of experimentation going on, and we don't necessarily see it that clearly, in my opinion, here in the States. But when you start looking outside at different things, in my mind, certain things start to connect. Nonetheless, this is my two Satoshis. I know I ran through a number of different stories. The links will be in the copy on this one, the description on this one. So you can definitely follow up on it for your own and do your own due diligence and looking into some of these things even more. I highly encourage doing your own due diligence. I really do. I understand though, it can be a lot to try to pay attention to what's going on in the space, because there's a lot of things that, let me put it this way. There were a number of things that happened And for me, for what I was tracking from like Saturday to Sunday, and I had to definitely like sift through the number of things and get down to this. Hopefully you guys do take into account, like, this is crypto news. This is what's going on. And check out the website, cryptoblood.io. And also this episode is brought to you, well, this particular segment is brought to you by Cigar Recon. If you're about that smoke life, check out the website, cigarrecon.com. Cigars definitely come in timely manner. My guy Dante is doing his thing. And other than that, I'm Trek with 2Ks, and this is my two Satoshis. Don't forget, share, like, and leave something in the comment. Yo, even if you don't like this, I'm cool with that. All right, I'm a grown person, man. All right, y'all. 1.